Hey, a new anime about cute girls. Look at this super cute trailer. It's probably gonna be a fun little slice of life. We have to watch this. Ah, crap. Alright then. So this is what Takopi's original scene really is. A story by the mangaka artist Tyson5. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel, and let's figure out how things ended up like this. I first heard about this original manga a couple of years ago, when it started winning a bunch of different awards. In the end, it even got nominated for the Osamu Tezuka Cultural Prize and took a third place in Kono Manga Gasugoi. That's already a good reason to check it out, right? And I decided to read the manga. Well, now the anime is out, and everyone else is finally feeling what manga readers felt when they run into this story. So, let's talk about the plot. The story starts when a girl named Shizuka finds a cute little octopus in a park. Turns out, he's actually an alien. Yeah, I can already hear the jokes. Of course a Japanese schoolgirl would run into tentacles. It's in their DNA or something. And the octopus has a weird name. Good luck trying to say this 3 times fast in a row. So the girl just calls him Takopi, cause he looks like a little octopus. And he says P at the end of his sentence. Now, Takopi, in a super cute, sweet, cartoonish way, tells us he's from the planet of love and happiness, a place where is no pain, no hate, just kindness and joy, and he's being sent to the earth with a simple mission: make people happy. To do this, he's got all kind of magical science gadgets, like Doraemon. He pulls them out of himself. But the real question is, can he actually make Shizuka happy? At first, Shizuka seems like a normal girl, but then you notice her eyes, tired, heavy, like she is being carrying the weight of the whole world on her shoulders. We see her hiding from some laughing schoolgirls walking nearby, and then we see her backpack. It's cut up, ruined, and covered with bad words. Yep, you get the picture. This is a story about school bullying, dark, nasty, and cruel. Meanwhile, Takopi, being totally innocent, just doesn't understand how people can be so mean to each other. He is not ready for this world. He keeps trying to cheer Shizuka up, using his gadgets, but she's still sad. The only thing that brings her a little happiness is her dog, Chappie. But even that doesn't last long. One night in the park, Marina, the girl who bullies Shizuka the most, runs into them again. She tries to beat Shizuka up. The dog jumps to protect her. And yeah, you already know what's coming. By the next morning, animal control is taking away the dangerous dog to be put down for attacking a child. Shizuka is left with nothing. No help from the mom at home, no friends at school. Now, her only joy is gone, and she breaks. And she ends her life right there, hanging by the friendship ribbon Takopi gave her. A gift he made hoping it will help her make peace with Marina. The first episode of the anime runs for almost 40 minutes. That's twice as long as normal episode, which is kinda odd because the shocking ending of a chapter 1 happens just 50 minutes in. Well, I guess the creators just wanted to soften the blow, to show us that the anime doesn't just end there. So the episode covers the first 2 chapters, and even hints at Marina's problem at home, problems that are actually the root of her hate for Shizuka. And most importantly, Takopi's magical power starts to come into play. He's going to try and change the timeline to make everyone's happy. And we as viewers got to see each other character's story unfold, learn what drives them, and root for Takopi, hoping that somehow, in the end, everyone will find happiness. But the road ahead is just one horror after another. You know, years ago, the anime industry pulled a sneaky move. They promoted Madoka Magica as cute magical girl show, full of friendship, hugs, cakes, and sparkles. And for a bit, it really was like that. Until it wasn't. Then came the pain, the suffering, and despair. In a way, the creators of Takopi original scene are doing the same thing, selling it as warm, and sweet in trailers. But, at least this time, they did give us a little warning. Don't watch this with your kids. And since I already read the manga, I knew it was a trick, but I'm super curious to hear from people who didn't know about anything. Did the anime manage to trick you too? Let me know in the comments. Speaking of manga, I got to say, I really like the artist's unique visual style, and the anime actually captured this style really well. You know how some amazing mangakas turn their flaws into their signature look? Like Hirohiko Araki, the guy behind JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He used to get roasted for drawing weird body proportions and crazy poses, but instead of fixing it, he made it his thing. Now, JoJo posing is iconic. With that in mind, let's look at Tyson 5 earlier one-shot, a story after everything went well. It also has a special schoolgirl and strange creatures, and surprise, it also packed with family drama, loneliness, the feeling of I don't belong here, and ends on a bittersweet, happy note. Now let's talk about the art. The art in one shot honestly feels rough, like a sketch or storyboard, not a finished project. And Takopi's original scene didn't change much in terms of drawing quality. Yeah, there is some really cool and detailed pages, but most of the time the characters look a bit clumsy, and the line work is kind of wobbly. But hold on! In Takopi, this style suddenly works. The main girl is no longer a teen, she is basically a kid, and her view of the world is broken, so that messy, uneven art style starts to feel like a part of the story. It adds this surreal, childlike vibe to everything, and the anime teams got it. They alone into it, added jagged edges to characters' outline, like we see the world through a weird kind of noise. They even use a fisheye lens effect on the backgrounds a lot. That helps sell the feeling that something is not quite right. Another artist turning weakness into strength, and this is what I really like. One last thing about the name, original sin. Like I understand, it's quite controversial. In Christianity, original sin is what humans inherit from Adam and Eve, the first humans, who disobeyed God and ate the forbidden fruit. Because of that, they were kicked out of paradise. And not just them, all of humanity carries that guilt. That's what original sin means. So what does the author means with this title? Well, the religious vibe is strong in this manga. I mean, Takopi is literally a messenger from the perfect happy place, kind of like an angel. Only instead of a lot of wings, he has like a lot of tentacles. Yeah, welcome to Japan. But the biggest theme is this. When Shizuka silently asks, why is this happens to me? The story doesn't give her a clear answer. Bad things don't always happen because you deserve them. Sometimes life just hurts. Humanity is guilty just by existing, and kids end up suffering for the sins of their parents. Yeah, at the end of the day, you will hate Shizuka's parents, and you will hate Marina's parents also. And that's exactly what the author wanted. And now, I really want to discuss the ending. By the time this video drops, the anime might already be finished. It's only 6 episodes long. So here it is, an explanation of the ending. If you want to avoid spoilers, skip the part when the warning disappears. The story keeps turning as Takopi starts using his special gadgets to change reality or rewind time. Anything to fix what's happening. He tries over and over again. He rewind time, he changed people's fate. At one point, he even replaced Marina entirely. But every time, things just get worse. No matter how hard he tries, Takopi just can't make Shizuka happy. And everything keeps falling apart. That's when we hit a major plot twist. Takopi remembers this isn't his first visit to Earth. Actually, after crashing here for the first time, Takopi didn't meet Shizuka. He met Marina. Not the little girl we know in 2016, but a high schooler in the year 2022. Her life is a mess, and she blames it all on Shizuka. Takopi wanted to help the kind girl who saved him. Marina makes a choice. He decided to go back in time to kill Shizuka. But here's the catch. He loses his memory. So with no memory of the plan, Takopi ends up meeting Shizuka instead. That's where the first chapter begins. Shizuka is kind to him. He starts helping her. But toward the end of the story, he remembers everything. That originally he came to help Marina. Now he's torn. Who should he help? And that's when Takopi comes to the only logical conclusion. Almost every death in the manga happens because of him. The author makes it very clear, especially in a key scene in the future timeline, when Takopi is with Marina. Someone says Shizuka once tried to end her life as a kid, but the rope broke. But in the rewritten timeline, she did die, because Takopi gave her a friendship ribbon, and that ribbon didn't break. So looking at everything what happened, kind-hearted Takopi decides, if he had never been there, the two girls probably could have figured things out on their own. Or, at very least, nobody would have died. So, to stop himself from ever crashing down, losing his memory, and creating new paradoxes, Takopi chooses to erase himself from reality. He makes sure he never met Shizuka or Marina, all to give them a chance at happiness. And in the new version of reality, things take a different turn. It's not perfect, but Shizuka and Marina, little by little, learn to talk to each other, to understand one another. Because they both just hurt kids, after all. Not bad people, just victims of bad parenting. The drawing also helped a little. A small Takopi in the corner of a notebook. Just a tiny echo left in their memories. They don't remember him, but tears starts falling anyway. Yeah, I get it. Not everyone liked the ending. Because in the final chapter it kind of feels like everything was erased. Some readers might feel cheated, like all their time and emotions were just thrown away. But personally, I like the ending. And here is how I understood it. There is no angel coming from the sky to save you. No magical Doraemon gadget that will fix your life. And even if something like this that does shows up, it will probably just make things worse. So in the end, you have to get up and fix your own problems. And yeah, those final emotions from the characters, they really hit hard. The author nailed it. Takopi disappears so that Shizuka and Marina could stand on their own and live their lives. And one more cool detail, the manga was written in 2022. The very first chapter is called To You in 2016, and the chapter where Takopi first met high school Marina is called To You in 2022. That means that the whole story was planned from the start. While the most mangakas after admit they usually only think 3-4 chapters ahead, and that's where the spoilers end. So what did Tyson 5 do after Takopi's original scene? Well, after collecting a bunch of awards, he moved on the biggest manga magazine in Japan, the one and only, the legendary and mighty Weekly Shonen Jump. That's where his next work came out, the Ichinose family's Deadly Scenes. You sensing the pattern in his titles too, right? Yeah, me too. The story is about a high school boy who wakes up in a hospital with amnesia, and he's greeted by a big happy family. Mom, dad, grandpa, and a little sister. Sounds sweet? Well, there is a catch. For some weird reasons, every single family member also lost their memory. No one remembers who they are or what happened in their lives. So, now they all have to try living together, pretending to be a family. Did I say pretending? Yep, because the more the main character watches his family, the more strange stuff he starts noticing. None of them are who they seems. Each one is hiding some dark secrets, and it's up to the boy to slowly uncover the truth, while also asking the big question, who is he really? As a mystery and psychological thriller, this manga pulls you in hard. I haven't read the whole thing yet, but the first few arcs were super gripping. That's why I'm pretty sure, now that Takopi has been adapted into an anime, this one's next in line. The manga recently wrapped up after 6 volumes, so the anime team would have full freedom to tell a complete, finished story. But since this series was made for a mainstream magazine, Tyson 5 had to tone things down a lot, and much less sharp edges, at least in the early arcs. But it's still worth checking out. And with that, we are wrapping up. So who is Takopi original sin actually for? Poo. Tough question. The atmosphere. It's definitely the strongest part of the Takopi's original sin. The story really knows how to put pressure on you. As a reader or viewer, you feel like a child again, eyes down, shoulders heavy, crushed by the weight of everything around you. Fear, self-doubt, pain, trauma. This manga dives deep into heavy topics, but the answer, you either don't get any answers, or the story pulls out some magical twist to wrap things up. And honestly, that makes sense, because even in real life, there is no always clear answer to those kind of questions. Remember that anime manga Doraemon again? The one where the robot cat solves everyday problems with wild sci-fi gadgets. Well, Takopi's godlike powers work kind of the same way. They can fix almost everything in a story, even rewrite reality itself. So yeah, some viewers might feel like the pain, the loss, the suffering sort of gets undone by all that. But still, one thing's for sure, with everything that happens in the manga and anime, you will walk away with some unforgettable moments. And hey, if you want even more teenage existential crisis stuff, but this time without any magical gadgets to erase the pain and past, go ahead and read Goodnight Pun Pun, and then call a therapist. You're gonna need one.